He just told you why he should be fired. He's distraught, really. He has no idea. Maybe there are certain standards on national TV where you then deserve to get fired. It should be on alert that we've never been in this position. All right, little wokey, Danny Batard is upset again. He's distraught, really, over an unfunny comedian getting fired from a job where you're supposed to entertain. Oh, the horror. I didn't say the horror. I said the horror. I mean, look, all you got to do is be a funny comedian and entertain. Don't be a divisive political figure in this country that leans so far left you damn near fall over on yourself. No. Be someone of the people. Be like Dakich. I think most people say that. Be like Dakich. Just be funny, irreverent. You know, anyway, Batard's mad. He argued that the situation reflected Disney and its chief, Bob Iger, once again caving to pressure from Donald Trump and his administration. He has no idea. You know, let me tell you, I knew this about Fat Dan back when he was at ESPN and I was at ESPN. Fat Dan just simply is lazy, and Fat Dan and little knee pad Stugatz, they just make stuff up to their liking of left. We're sad. Left. We're victims. Left. Trump mean. Left. DTS. That's all Batard and his little posse of punks do. That's what they do. That's who they are. So it's no surprise, but Batard has morphed into Jemele Hill, where you just kind of wait for them to whine about something, and then you kind of sort of make fun of it. There is nothing in the information in Dan Batard's brain that says the Trump administration pressured anybody to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel. Now, could that have happened? Hell, probably did. But he doesn't know this. I don't know this. Who knows? Maybe, just maybe, when you lie about a murder that a lot of people saw, when you have no empathy for the person being killed, then you lie about the person doing the murder on national TV. You're proven wrong by the actual text messages of said assassin. Maybe there are certain standards on national TV where you then deserve to get fired. Oh, I don't know. And Jimmy Kimmel is the one who simply said, I don't know, about a year ago, you can't just make things up on TV. You can't do that. He went on a monologue about Aaron Rodgers saying something about Kimmel. And Kimmel, of course, got offended because, well, that's what left politicians, writers, TV hosts do. Don't you dare come at me. I'm going to be offended. So Kimmel fired back saying you just can't make stuff up. Well, he made stuff up. So, I don't know, ABC took him at his own word and, fired his ass or indefinitely suspended him. And then it came out, of course, that he was going to double down on his stupidity. Well, of course he is, because Kimmel feels like most like Batard and left-leaning actors, I'm saying actors. I know the difference between actor and a writer, but they're all actors, like Mina Kimes, Pablo Torre, Sarah Spain, all the usual suspects. These actors don't want anybody challenging them on their victimhood or on their leftness. All right, Batard argued that it reflected Disney Iger giving in to Trump, calling it an act of cowardice. Oh, on his show, Batard delivered a somber take. That's what Fat Dan does. When he goes, he gets somber. Saying Iger prioritized corporate interest over principle. Duh. Wait, hold on. A guy running a major corporation took, the bottom line in account over a lying, thieving, unfunny TV host of a show that was allegedly, and I'm going to say this allegedly, losing money. And that, Batard said, the entire media industry is on alert. Yeah, it should be on alert. I mean, for what? The last 5-6 years? The media industry told us, the American people, like we were fools that Joe Biden was cognizant. They told us that disregard what you see at the border, all of these folk running through unencumbered. The border is secure. They actually told us this. So yes, the media, yes, they should be on alert. Tell the damn truth. Tell the truth. Don't go on your national TV show and lie about people. Seems fairly simple to me. Here's Le Batard.
But seeing Jimmy Kimmel not have the protection of something as powerful as Disney, because corporate interests in media are filled with such cowardice that you have a situation where not even Bob Iger has the money or the power to stand up to the threat that is presently upon the shores of everyone in media because of how compromised they are by a series of mergers and money interests. And to see Bob Iger show this kind of cowardice and bend a knee again with Trump, not the first time, because what happens here is once you're a coward who's extorted, the bully's going to keep extorting the coward. And when they gave Trump $16 million on something that Stephanopoulos said, they opened the doors now to all of media feeling like it needs to capitulate to a threat. And now you get dangerously close to state-run media. And I will tell you, as someone who descends, grandparents and parents, from a childhood filled with, you can't trust the media, it's all propaganda. I've never seen in my lifetime America in the position it's presently in, where the media is running this kind of scared from power as if we're not a place that one of the chief principles is free speech. And I understand that private businesses don't have to adhere to free speech stuff, but there's no one who can look at what's happening here. You can't look at what's happening here and not say that this is a kind of threat that you have not seen before in the United States, where a comedian gets gone from a late night television show for commentary that, I'm telling you, doesn't pass for the top 100 of the things that he has said on his broadcast that would be offensive to a different political affiliation.
Oh, that's total crap. And he just told you why he should be fired. Because if that doesn't fit in the top 100, and I applaud Le Batard for saying something, that we've never been in this position. Good. We've always been in the position where liars like Le Batard, who goes back to what his dad faced, not what he faced, what his dad and grandpa faced. We've never been in a position before where people are now standing up to the lies of our legacy media. We've always sat back and taken them. But now, whether it is Trump, we're standing up. And that's a good thing. See, that's not a bad thing. You shouldn't have media, a comedian, which actually calling Jimmy Kimmel a comedian might be the most offensive thing about this whole thing. But you can't have a comedian / talk show host go on a late night show and blatantly lie about the biggest issue of the day. You can joke about it, but you can't blatantly lie. And that's where Le Batard misses. That's where Le Batard's not close. This is a good thing for America. No, this is a great thing. Finally, people are standing up to the stupidity. I mean, how many lies were told, how many jobs were lost by a media going back, 4 years, 5 years, that was so afraid that they had to acquiesce and lie about people that didn't back Black Lives Matter or didn't back vaccines or said something offensive 10 years before in a tweet or in a video 20 years before. How many people? Now folks are standing up saying, no, you did this yesterday and you're going to have to answer for it. And oh, by the way, Le Batard, They gave Kimmel a chance, at least according to the Variety and other publications, to discuss this. He was going to be the tough guy. He was going to be untouchable because that's what he's allowed to have been the last 5, 7, 8 years. Untouchable. I'm liberal. Everybody will protect me. That's how Batard has lived until ESPN said, yeah, enough of your stupid shit. But anyway, we are in an era where actually Kimmel had a chance. He was going to double down because he's entitled. He was going to tell the world he was right. He was not going to apologize. And so the leaders said, all right, goodbye. I've always said this when I worked at ESPN. You want to be a jackass? There's 1,000 guys that can do that job. Now, none could do it as well as me, but there's guys that could go to a game, sit there and go, hey, yay, rah, this guy scored. He back cut. I mean, Bag of Sand could do those jobs. But anyway, long story short, we are in a great place in this society where we are standing up to lies on national TV. Batard linked the move to ABC's earlier settlement with Trump. Well, don't lie. That's a great thing Trump did. He said, look, you guys are lying, which followed the former president's defamation lawsuit against the network after Stephanopoulos made disputed remarks about Trump's civil sexual assault case, i.e., Trump stood up for himself when Stephanopoulos, the little fella, got himself in trouble for lying. Of course, Batard had to compare this to his family's life in Cuba. Not his life. Here is California Rep. Eric Swalwell telling CNN that Jimmy Kimmel has a right to be on your TV set. Right? It's kind of a privilege to be on your TV set. You know what a right is? Here's Swalwell.
Congressman, I see you are wearing a hat. What does that hat say?
You're damn right I am, John. I was a guest on the Jimmy Kimmel show. He, every night, has a right to come into any house that wants to watch and entertain Americans, just as Greg Gutfeld on Fox has a right to be not funny and go on his network and entertain Americans. It's a part of who we are, John, and frankly, it should shake every American that the President of the United States is out there firing comedians who make fun of him. That is not who we are, and every American should care and stand up to this.
Every American, particularly those in Congress, should tell the truth. And that's not why Jimmy Kimmel was fired. Jimmy Kimmel would never have been fired. Well, maybe not never, but not yesterday or the day before, had he not gone on TV and lied about an assassin and his boyfriend and what they were thinking and proven to be wrong with hard evidence. What is wrong with these people? Okay, Jimmy Kimmel, you do have the right if you want to be on TV, I suppose, but it seems like it's more of a privilege. And oh, by the way, the company that airs your show and pays your salary has the right to do what? Say it with me. Fire your ass. How dumb are these people? This is why we are in a great position now in the United States, because people know guys like Swalwell are full of shit. People know and aren't afraid to say people like Batard are full of shit. See, that is a very good thing. And when, you go on national TV and you lie about the freaking intentions, background of an assassin in the biggest case of this century, I don't know if it's that, but it's close. He should be fired. And to Batard's point, it's one of 100 lies that Kimmel has told. That's more times than he's been funny. You enjoying the show? Well, listen, it's presented to you by Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every daggone day, but on Prize Picks, being right's going to get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this year on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks also offers injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half, doesn't return, Prize Picks does not count it as a loss. Prize Picks also offers, Yeah, what's wrong with me? Can't read today. PrizePicks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users. I do. Sign up today. I'll give you my picks here in a minute. Download the PrizePicks app. Use code DAKICH. That's Dakich. To get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DAKICH to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePick, run your game. Oh, yeah, we have another max discount that I want to bring to your attention this week, this coming Sunday, the 21st, the lovely Lee Ross's birthday. Patrick Mahomes, more than 0.5 yards. That's right. If Mahomes gets a yard, you win. Pretty good. All right, from a cheater to the greatest ever, can this be possible? Here's an overreaction from the national media about Jim Harbaugh. Colin Cowherd made the case, he really did, that he believes Jim Harbaugh is the greatest football coach of all time. College or NFL over names like Belichick, Walsh, Saban, Vince Lombardi. I like it. Give it to me, Cowherd.
Hall of Fame. Football's different. There's the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and then there's the College Football Hall of Fame. But I was thinking this morning that if you combined it like basketball, and it was just, there was a Football Hall of Fame, you could count college and pro. I would make an argument today, the greatest coach in the history of football is not Bill Belichick or Bill Walsh or Vince Lombardi. It's Jim Harbaugh, the greatest coach ever. Think about this. He's never failed. He's 5 for 5. At San Diego, Stanford, San Francisco 49ers, Michigan, and the Chargers. He's never failed. Saban and Urban, unbelievable college legends, struggled in the NFL. He's also not tied to a single player. What's Belichick without Brady? Not great. The only person that kind of compares to him is Jimmy Johnson.
I don't know. I mean, my thing is I'll never get on board with Harbaugh because he's a cheat. I mean, he showed at Michigan he could not win. Remember, his salary got cut. Every endorsement that he had got cut. And then that Stallions guy started a cheating operation, and they won. Now, I know what people are going to say. People don't care. I get it. I do. While I understand what he's saying, you're talking about a guy that went to college, won a national championship, but let's pump the brakes yet. Yes, he went to a Super Bowl, great accomplishment with Colin Kaepernick. But let's just pump the brakes a little bit on this year's Charger team. Now, I think the Chargers are really good. I watched them the other night, and I thought it was an offensive team. I thought it was Justin Herbert, but wait a second. They've got a terrific defense. In fact, that defense just basically told the Raiders and Geno Smith, step aside, son. You got no chance against us. Davey, does Cowherd make a salient point here? Or is this just bluster?
He makes a salient point. You got me now?
Go ahead. Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah, no, I can't go down that road. And I wouldn't even put Bill Belichick in that same thing. Whenever you have some of these cheating scandals that rock an entire program, I'm going to look at you in a different light. I say Nick Saban's a better coach than Jim Harbaugh. Now, listen, if Harbaugh manages to find a way to win multiple Super Bowls with the Chargers, a franchise that has never really been able to have success in the postseason level, my take might change. But right now, I can't go with saying Jim Harbaugh is one of the greatest coaches ever.
Yeah, I can't either. A lot of guys have done okay, and Harbaugh certainly has. Don't get me wrong. Not a lot of guys have won national championship and gone to a Super Bowl. I get it, and I do like the take on Jimmy Johnson. And really, if you look at Belichick and Brady and you go what the Cowboys have been post Jimmy Johnson, kind of makes Jimmy Johnson look pretty good. And if you look at what Miami has been post Jimmy Johnson, other than 1 year with Larry Coker, hey, Davey, it kind of makes Jimmy Johnson look really good if we're going to play the Belichick-Brady game, no?
Oh, 100%, Dan. And, I mean, you talk about the Cowboys, like just the lack of success following Jimmy Johnson and, his firing. I know they've got the new documentary out, but, basically Jerry Jones just being jealous led to the demise of that franchise from at least a winning at the level they were standpoint. So it's definitely interesting, but no, I can't. Jimmy Johnson.
Nah. Jimmy Johnson was good, but I'm not there with Harbaugh yet. I'm not there yet. I'm with you. Nah. Hey, you enjoying the show? Of course you are. What else you got to do? If I'm background noise, you're missing out because I'm looking particularly handsome today. Hey, I need you to do this. Head on over to youtube.com/@don't@me with Dan Dakich. You're going to see it on the screen here momentarily. That way you can like, comment, and subscribe. There he is. Boy, I don't like my head. All right. And you'll never miss any of our great content. According to reports, Kawhi Leonard, man. Kawhi Leonard is trying to make more money for doing less work than a mob guy. He is. Kawhi Leonard has a no-show job in the NBA where he works like 40 days a year, and he was trying to get more. His uncle had some serious demands to teams when shopping around Kawhi, to potential suitors when Kawhi was a free agent bringing a title to the Toronto Raptors organization back in 19. Comment below if you think this guy sounds like a piece of work. I think he does. Acquiring Paul George. Listen to this. Acquiring Paul George, this is from ESPN, so I don't know if it's true or not, was one of several requests made by Leonard and his camp, which was led by Leonard's uncle, Dennis Robertson, who outlined a series of asks for the Clippers in the days leading up to July 5th. Those requests included, listen to this, part ownership of the team, access to a private plane, house guaranteed, also off-court endorsement money. One source with direct knowledge of the talks said there were the same requests that, according to The Athletic, Robertson made to the Lakers and to the Raptors. The Toronto Star reported September 9th that Robertson also asked for the Raptors for ownership stakes in outside companies and corporate sponsorship deals in which, and this is beautiful, if this isn't Kawhi Leonard, I don't know what is, Leonard wouldn't have to do anything in return for the money. Pretty much like his NBA career since 2019. Robertson, the uncle, who did not respond, of course, to request for comment for this story, wanted Leonard to be able to initially live in San Diego rather than in L.A. He would commute Oprah style via helicopter. He later moved to L.A. The Clippers agreed. He wanted Leonard to be able to skip some media obligations and team community events. Kawhi Leonard don't want to do nothing. Clippers agreed. He wanted to promise to market Leonard individually. The Clippers agreed. His uncle wanted Leonard to be able to bring some of his own people into the organization. Oh, yeah, bring me. The Clippers agreed. Wow. It also went on to talk about how the Clippers fired their broadcaster, Bruce Bowen, in 2018 over fears that comments he made on air about Leonard would upset the star player. I've never heard anything like this. The only thing I ever heard was Jim Leland, the famous manager, and Rich Donnelly, his third base coach, sat down with Alex Rodriguez when Rodriguez was shopping himself around. Rodriguez wanted a basically office in the stadium with a view. I think it's Coors Field, with a view, so he could conduct his business meetings. Leland, being an old school guy, is like, get out of here. Get out of here. What are you talking about? That's really the only thing I've ever really heard. Contract negotiations, I don't know. Maybe people want crazy stuff. The private plane certainly seems to be a thing now. In fact, some NIL deals for kids involve a private plane. Pretty smart. You know, you get yourself 24 hours or so on a private plane. Hey, takes 2 hours to get from here to what? Miami? We go hang out, 2 hours to get back. That's 4 hours. I can do that 6 times during a year. Hell yeah, I can get naked on the beach. Damn right I can. Man, no, but these go above and beyond. I want to bring my own people in. There have been times when players in high school wanted their coach to get hired on a staff, and that had happened. In fact, my old coach, Bob Knight, hired Bob Donewald from South Bend St. Joseph High School and brought 2 of his players with him, John Laskowski and Tom Abernathy. What are you going to do? All right. Nothing like golf beef. You know, I like golf beef. There's regular beef. There's little girl beef. There's golf beef. Former U.S. Ryder Cup captain and rancor of the booty, Lanny Watkins, had some words for Europeans and those complaining about the rowdy New York fans that are expected to create carnage at Bethpage Black in Long Island. Sometimes I think the Europeans are just a bunch of wussies and can't handle the heat. Yeah, and by the way, nobody checked out the booty more than Lanny Watkins. Rancor of the booty is from 2.5 Men. James Earl Jones was giving, a eulogy of Charlie Sheen in one of Charlie Sheen's dreams, and it's really funny. But Lanny would pick out a girl and go, yeah, hey, give her my number. Let me get her number. But now he's a tough guy. Now, as he's probably 70, he feels free to call others wusses. I don't know, man. What I do know is the Europeans have kicked this American ass. And you got to say it like this. They've kicked the Americans' ass on European soil and on American soil. If you don't use soil with the Ryder Cup, you suck. That's right. How many times, do a drinking game next week, how many times you're going to hear all square and soil? We're on European soil. I took a dump on European soil the other day. Yeah, there you go. Here's Lanny Watkins. This is always chicken blank right here at the start. I find it very interesting. When anybody starts it like that, he's a pussy. I find it very interesting that we never say a word about what happened to us when we're playing in Europe. No, see, what you should say is I think it's horseshit. We don't talk about what happens to us when we play in Europe. Now, I find it very interesting. Lanny's probably got his face full of, blonde ladies over in the villages. I know I've been on the first tee as far back as 1985, got introduced and had the entire grandstands boo me. There you go. I mean, got the same treatment over there. We just never complained about it. Sure you did. Maybe not you. Sometimes I think the Europeans are just a bunch of wusses and can't handle the heat. What makes you think they can't handle it? That's my question. Well, they've handled Americans pretty well. I'm as pro-American. Hell, I'm wearing my America shirt right now. But fair is fair. They've handled the Americans pretty damn well. Now, because, I don't know, Angel Jimenez said that the Americans are mean or bad in New York. I don't know. What makes you say that they can't handle it? I'm trying to look this up, and I'm trying to see how dominant not over the years, but recently, how dominant it has been. From 1995 to 2014, the Ryder Cup was won 8 out of 10 times by the Europeans. They handled it then. The Ryder Cup for years and years and years was always kind of a gentlemanly. Jack Nicklaus allowed Tony Jacklin to pick up his mark and win the match, that kind of thing. I don't know, man. Looks like the Europeans won last Ryder Cup. United States 2 ago, Europe 3 ago, United States 4 ago, then 3 straight by the Europeans, including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7 years. I think the Europeans handle it just fine. What the hell is Lanny talking about? On European soil, or in American soil, is what we're supposed to say. Let's see here. In DuPage County, Medina Country Club, the Europeans won. I don't think anybody has a problem. I think the more we talk about it, the better. I hope everybody yells, screams, cusses, and absolutely goes batshit crazy. I do. I like that. Golf needs that. Hey, remember Angela Carini, the Italian female boxer who forfeited her boxing match at last summer's or 2 summers ago at the Paris Olympics against that Iman Khalif, the dude who pulverized girls on his way to Olympic gold. She's now speaking on her experience and how the whole ordeal almost destroyed her career. That's what you got to do. When something happens to you, you got to wait a little bit, then talk about what a victim you are. And she was a victim. Don't get me wrong. Here she is. I'm just snarky today. Here she is. Oh, it's a screenshot. I'm sorry. I have never been hit so hard in my life. It's up to the IOC. She was forced to fight a man at the Olympics. That Iman Khalif, who was previously disqualified from the 2023 Women's World Boxing Championship for failing a sex eligibility test, delivered what Carini called the most powerful punch she had ever absorbed in her life. Now, more than a year later, of course, Carini says the incident left deep emotional scars and destroyed her career. In a video posted to Instagram on Tuesday, Carini revealed the extent of online harassment she received after the loss. Of course she did. Sharing screenshots of messages calling her a coward and the shame of the Italian team. What's wrong with people? Look, you sign up to play against the girls and a dude hits you in the next week. You should say, whoa, wait a second. Others begged her not to return to the ring at all. Have you ever wondered how hard it was for me to face these words, what I had to endure and endure day after day? What I had to face for my silence while preserving my health from a stupid social network from people who speak and say words without thinking twice? For many, it is easy to forget the past, but for me it wasn't. The past has marked my life. That past has left wounds inside of me that I try to heal day after day, but it's like an infected wound. It bleeds and it hurts. That past has changed and destroyed my career, built year after year with sacrifice, dedication, tenacity, and a lot of passion. That career that is underestimated and belittled by those who prefer to have a laugh for a few moments, preferred to throw the stone. Yeah, she's right. Sometimes you get a little look under the hood after the fact. With the Olympics set to arrive in America in 2028, it's time to end this madness once and for all. Simply do this. Keep men out of women's sports. I mean, that crazy, slow, I don't know what the hell she is, Hawaiian congresswoman said it. Women can't do a pull-up. Women aren't as strong as men. I don't know. Seems to make sense to me. Protect and stand up for women. Like the Italian stallion. Protect the Italian stallion. Angela Gabrini. Why wouldn't you? She seems pretty cool. Hey, we talk about this all the time in sports and society, and Davey brought it up. Kamala Harris failed up. You know, Anthony Richardson actually didn't really fail up, but talented up. He was hurt as a high school kid, got a scholarship to Florida. Guy in front of him got hurt. He was a quarterback in Florida, got hurt every time he played there, and failed up to the 4th pick in the draft. Pretty good. Stephen A. Smith is failing up. Stephen A. Smith, who was absolutely abysmal during the NBA draft. In fact, he was absolutely abysmal during the entire NBA year. He has failed upwards again. It's been revealed that Stephen A. Smith will join the cast of ESPN's Monday Night Countdown for select shows, starting with this Monday, Lions at the Ravens game in Baltimore. That's what we want, more Stephen A. Smith. I saw this yesterday. This is really ridiculous, and I told you this. Stephen A. Smith's show only does about 450,000 viewers. That's it. A bad WNBA game does that. Now, it's kicking Barstool's ass as Barstool started up a show, but hey, I'm telling you, man, Stephen A. Smith is the most overhyped. I wish he would replace Kimmel. I think that might be an interesting show. I wish he would run for office. I think he's shown himself to have some common sense. But his takes on basketball and football and sports in general are just not very good. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, people get mad. I don't think Stephen A. Smith is a DEI hire. I think Stephen A. Smith got hired with Skip Bayless, and he's an opportunist. He's not a guy that sits back, relaxes, and lets the world walk by him. He's a guy that gets involved. He rides a wave. And I respect the hell out of that. I do. But I don't respect any of his thoughts on basketball. I certainly don't respect any of his thoughts on football. But I do understand what ESPN is doing here. Two things. One, you're paying this guy a mega salary. I mean, think about it. You're paying this guy more money than he has sense. You got to use him. Second, he has become too political. So now you're trying to put him in where people recognize who he is. And I'm talking about to the bosses. The bosses at ESPN feel like he's getting too far out there and being seen more as a politician or a political candidate than as a sports guy. So, hey, look, we're paying this guy a ton of cash. We got to get him back along the rails of sports guy. And I understand it. I do. Davey, do you think Stephen A. Smith has any shot to replace Jimmy Kimmel, assuming Jimmy Kimmel never comes back to that show?
There's definitely a chance. I don't think it's likely, but I see why that door could very well be open. Dan, the question I have for you, with Stephen A. joining the Monday Night Football crew, or at least the Countdown crew, do you think at any point Ryan Clark is going to tell Stephen A. that's the non-player in you whenever he gives a take he doesn't like?
I think that ship's probably sailed for Ryan Clark. I don't think I tell you what, though, I would respect Ryan Clark if he did that. Wouldn't you?
I mean, he's sticking to his guns. It's another non-player.
I mean, because we haven't seen him do that to anybody but, the white guy. So let's see him do it to Kimes. Let's see him do it to Smith. Let's see him do it to that big old Marcus Spears. I mean, he'll probably, he can't do it to Spears. Spears played. But, yeah, that's a good question. That's a really, really good question.
That's a fireable offense, though, if you say that to Stephen A. Like, he's going to get you out as soon as you bring that, and he's already on thin ice. So, unfortunately, we won't see it, but, man, that would make for some excellent television.
That would be great. And, Smith, it's come out, has worked behind the scenes. He has a lot of power, and who gets hired, who gets fired. You bring that at Smith, chances are you're gone Kimmel style the next day. I'm digging it. We got shot clock violation coming up with Jason Allen Hammer, America's smartest and best radio host, and our good friend, America's greatest writer, Danny Z.
Football's finally back.
Violation featuring our two guests, Danny Z and Jason Allen Hammer. There you go. We got it right now. Real simple. 4 topics, 4 rounds of debate. You have 30 seconds each of you. Give your best take on whatever topic is thrown at you. You know the deal. If we end in a tie, which we will, we'll go to a 5th question because I like talking to these two guys. It's always fun. You go over the buzzer? What the hell? We'll keep it going. All right, Danny Z, you won the coin toss. You are first. We're 2 weeks, a few weeks actually, into the college football season. Who's really the best team in college football in your mind, Danny Z? Oh, boy. Oh,
I mean, what kind of Penn State graduate would I be if I didn't say it's the Penn State Nittany Lions? Now, look, I know they haven't played anybody yet, so it's going to be easy to jump on a team like Ohio State who beat Texas. But look, Penn State's done their usual business. They've blown out every team they've played. They've only allowed 17 points through 3 games, nearly had back-to-back shutouts. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. They have the best running combo in the nation with Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. The defense is stacked. Now, does that mean Penn State's going to win the national championship? No, because I don't believe in James Franklin. But as far as who is the best team with the most talent, the answer is the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Hammer time.
Man, I was ready to say Georgia because I just think they are well coached. It's just NFL players up and down that roster. They were down 8 at Tennessee in the closing minutes and find a way to win that game. But, man, the more that I watch Oregon feels like one of those teams that's really good, and I don't know why more people aren't talking about them. Normally, we overhype Oregon. This year, for whatever reason, the Ducks are kind of flying under the radar. And I like Dan Lanning a great deal. Dan Lanning's got that thing rolling. And Danny Z, here in a couple weeks, I think the first real test for your boys is taking on Oregon.
Next Saturday, Penn State, Oregon. It's the biggest home game on the schedule for Penn State this year. They have a really easy schedule, by the way.
I'm sad for both of you. The Indiana football Hoosiers are in the top 20, and they take on a top 10 Illinois team where they are going to establish their dominance. And the fact that, you know what, once again, Indiana football, and Hammer, you know this for years and years, we're always disrespected, Hammer. There's always disrespect put on Indiana's name in football. That's sad. For years.
Do you think they should be in the conversation for best team in the country? I mean, the question was about best team in the country. You think they're in that conversation? Okay.
Yeah.
There's putting respect on their name and there's being delusional.
They're going to, I said, once they won 73-0. I'll tell you what, you don't win 73-0 in any sport. That's how good they are. They
Point
beat
of
Old
order,
Dominion,
Purdue beat Indiana State last year.
Hey,
Purdue beat that team, Coach.
I know. Shush. Don't give me facts when I'm on a roll, please. They beat Old Dominion, who went into Blacksburg and smoked the whatever they are, the Hokies. You mark my word. Best team in America, the Hoosiers. All right, Chiefs are 0-2. The offense looks anemic. Is it a slow start for Mahomes in them, or are we looking at a real shot at them, the Chiefs, missing the playoffs, Hammer?
I think both of those things are true. It is a slow start. Now, their schedule has been pretty tough, but when you're good for a decade and you win championships, you get a first-place schedule. So they played two good teams. They've lost both games, but they haven't looked real sharp doing it. And if you look at that division, everybody but the Raiders is pretty good. I think the Chargers are pretty good. Denver is not great, but they're pretty good. If the Chiefs don't get it together, they're in danger of missing out on a wild card spot, because right now it looks like that team with Jim Harbaugh might be the front runners to win that division.
Pretty good. What do you got there, Danny?
Absolutely no shot. No, but the Chiefs are not missing the playoffs. This is insane. We do this all the time with teams that get off to a slow start. Look, the Chiefs are banged up. They lost Xavier Worthy on the third play. Rasheed Rice doesn't come back until his 6-game suspension is up. They don't have any weapons on offense right now, but they will. They still have that guy, Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs understand it's a long season. They play their best football in December, January, and February. I'm not worried about the Chiefs in the slightest. I don't think the Broncos are any good. The Raiders stink. That's 4 wins. Yeah, I said it. They're going to beat both of those teams both times, and I think they'll get revenge on the Chargers when they play them again. 5-1 divisional record. Chiefs win at least 10 games, easily make the playoffs, and it's not a team I'd want to face come postseason time.
I think they'll be good. They'll be real good, but it might be one of those deals where somebody that's not as good but has a better record sneaks in, right? Like, they could be really damn good. Patrick Mahomes is still that dude, but man, I don't know.
Let me just give it to you. This is for a long time. 11.5% of the teams that started 0-2 have made the playoffs. Couple made it last year. 0-2.
Yeah, but most teams that start 0-2 stink. Most teams that start 0-2 are bad teams. Like, of course, 90% of them don't make the playoffs. The Chiefs are in that 11% group of good teams who happen to start 0-2. That stat is useless.
No, I disagree. I don't think they're in that 11% until they actually do it. You don't go to that percentage until you actually do it. Maybe you just described a horseshit team. You literally did. You said the Chiefs have no weapons on offense. Their best players hurt. The other
I said right now.
You described a horseshit team.
Right now.
Right now.
They're going to get healthy. They're going to get Rasheed Rice back.
That's all
They'll probably be 3-3. They'll be 3-3 when they get fully healthy going into week 7. Then they'll rattle off like 6 straight, and then we'll all look back and be like, "Remember when we talked about the Chiefs dynasty being dead?" Like, Dan, we've seen this movie before. Come on.
Hey, clip this, please. Please clip this. ESPN is claiming that Tom Brady is heavily involved with the Raiders, from sitting in the coach's box talking game plan with Chip Kelly weekly. Pete Carroll says that is inaccurate. What do you believe about Tom Brady? Who's first? Is it you, Danny? Go ahead.
What do I believe? Yeah, it sure looks like Tom Brady's pretty heavily involved with the Raiders. He's sitting up in the freaking coach's box. I don't know how much more involved you can get. He had a headset on. How many times you ever cut to like Jim Irsay or Stephen Ross wearing a headset in the booth? Like that's not exactly owner behavior. Like they usually like to strut around in the owner's box or maybe walk around on the field in a suit and tie. Nah, Brady strapped on the headset. That being said, I don't care. I don't think it's that big of a deal with regard to the broadcasting. Look, they talk about these production meetings. Everybody knows Tom Brady owns the Raiders. Ben Johnson said it. What do you think? I'm going in there giving him trade secrets? And also, Brady can watch film. He's the best film watcher we've ever seen. Like, he can see what we're doing. I don't need to tell him anything. Like, I think all of it, yes, Brady's involved. No, I don't think it matters.
Tell him about Carly Ursay with a headset on, Hammer, as the owner, would you?
So Carly, the boss lady, shows up on the sideline. She's got a headset and the call sheet. Anybody can wear the headset and look like R. Kelly trying to do his show. No. Carly goes out there with the Andy Reid call sheet like she's ready to step in as a coordinator if push comes to shove. So this is why I believe Brady, too. Look, Brady is a businessman in addition to being a damn good quarterback. He wants to make sure he's getting his money's worth. If he's going to be a part owner of this thing, he wants to make sure he's getting his money's worth. Plus, post-divorce Tom Brady wants to make sure it's worth his time and investment. So, hell yes, Tom Brady's on the headset. I'd rather have him on the headset than anybody else.
Why would, they said he can't be in production meetings. All right, I get all that. But if I'm a coach and they let him in the production meeting, I'm not telling him squat. ESPN guys made a big deal. Like, they act like coaches are stupid or somehow obligated to tell their entire game plan to the media. They're not, Danny. If Brady came in and I knew I was playing Oakland a week for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, I ain't saying squat. I'm saying, Brady, you can be in here, but if you're in here, we're talking about sandwiches. We ain't talking football. That just makes sense. These things don't happen in a bubble. What are they talking about?
Yeah, and look, I mean, I've never been in one of those production meetings exactly because I'm not that level. Dan, you might have been in a few production meetings. You've done some play-by-play. Yeah, you've been in a lot of production meetings. But also, in the NFL, things change week to week. Even if you tell them, like, what our plan is this week, it's not going to be our plan next week. It's not going to be our plan in 2 weeks. It's not going to be our plan in 4 weeks because, again, you're putting it on film. Teams watch the film. Then they adjust. I really think all of this, actually, I think Brady's biggest problem as a broadcaster has nothing to do with being an owner. He's just afraid to criticize anyone. He does not criticize players. And this is the biggest problem you have with guys who go from the field right to the booth. Jason Witten had this problem. Witten was a beloved guy in the NFL, and he would never say anything back because these are his friends. You're literally talking about going on national TV and making fun of your friends. A lot of these guys aren't willing to do it. And Brady's a prime example of a guy, until he is willing to actually criticize some players, he's not going to be a great broadcaster. He's a good broadcaster, though. I think I do think we're underrating him a bit.
I don't really pay it. I don't think he's anything interesting. I hate to say that, but I don't know that he's on. And Hammer, is he, in your opinion, doing pretty good as a broadcaster?
I mean, it's not awful. I don't hear people walking around going, Tom Brady sucks. I'm going to hit the mute button. I don't want to watch this game because Brady's on the call. I don't hear people saying that, but he's not great. But I do want to push back on one thing you said earlier, Coach. Coaches aren't stupid enough to tell you the game plan. I think there probably have been some stupid coaches that would have told the game plan. If Frank Reich was in charge of the Colts right now, he'd probably hand Tom Brady the playbook. If Matt Eberflus were still the head coach of a team right now, he'd probably hand Tom Brady the playbook.
Yeah, as soon as that came out of my mouth, I thought about Frank Reich being a Mensa and wanting to outsmart people by giving them the playbook. As soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, the Mensa woulda. And
the local media here would be like, he's playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Doyle would be like, oh, my God. Oh, harum. Hey, this is an interesting question because I really don't know what to make of this. Clayton Kershaw's an 11-time All-Star, 3-time Cy Young Award winner. He's going to retire at the end of the season. I don't know. Where does he rank? Is he's a first-ballot Hall of Famer, I assume. And where are the Dodgers? Let's talk baseball for just a quick minute here. What do you got, Danny?
Who are these baseball fans on your production staff that insist we talk about baseball every week? I don't get it.
I knew it. That's why I let you go first. That's why I put you first on that one.
Literally in the middle of football season, we got crazy stuff going on in the world. We got Jimmy Kimmel getting canned. We got the NFL. We got college football. And yet, out of nowhere, we got to mix in something about baseball. All right, here we go. Clayton Kershaw. I'll give a hot take. Clayton Kershaw's the best pitcher of this generation. I don't think it's particularly close. I think his playoff struggles are overblown. One of his terrible starts was against the Astros when they were cheating. Remember that he pitched unbelievable in game 1 in Dodger Stadium in that series before getting railed when they were telling their teammates what he was about to throw. And I think the Dodgers have basically been really poorly managed in the postseason. So I think Clayton Kershaw's playoff struggles are overblown. His regular season career is absolutely unbelievable. Longevity, great. He's adapted his game throughout his career. I think he's the best pitcher of this generation.
There you go. See, that wasn't so hard. Good job,
Look, I know,
fellas.
I know baseball. I played baseball my whole life. I watch a ton of baseball. But my thing is, like, you got to – I'm also a producer at heart, and I'm thinking about the audience, Dan. I'm thinking about the audience, and if I'm watching this show and I'm thinking, oh, I got Hammer and Danny Z. We're going to talk some football. We're going to talk some Kimmel. We'll get a little politics in there. And then out of nowhere, where does Clayton Kershaw rank all time? I might change the channel.
Dude, just burying the production staff here. Just absolutely body bagging the producers here. Jesus. Wow.
Wow. That hurt me to my core. And I must say, I heard a bunch of clicks, and they were channels coming on as we asked a baseball question. Good job, Nick. Good job. Dylan, good job, Davey. Hammer, give me your thought on anything, apparently, not baseball. What?
Man, it feels like I'm baseball. The kid at the beginning of Boys in the Hood or Stand By Me. Y'all want to see a dead body? Like, do a live shot of the producer studio right now. Here's the thing about Clayton Kershaw. I've always liked Clayton. Seems like a good dude. And I loved in the All-Star game this year when they mic'd him up and he comes off the field. And I don't think he knew he was still mic'd up. And he's just shitting all over Big Dumper. Suck it, Big Dumper. Suck it, Big Dumper. All right, Clayton, I'm not mad at you. I don't know if he's the best pitcher of the last 30 years. I think I'd still take Pedro Martinez. If it's a big game, I think I'd rather have Curt Schilling than Clayton. But you can make a case, the nastiest curveball in my lifetime, when that dude drops that hook and it's working, it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's always an interesting thing about baseball, even though, by the way, in defense of Davey and Dylan and Nick, we got playoffs coming up. The Cubs are in the playoff, which means baseball is the most important sport in America, other than Indiana football, the greatest team in the country. Hammer, side question. You're a big Tennessee Vols fan. That kicker, you okay with that kicker? You all right? What are your thoughts?
He's getting paid. He probably makes more than I do. Like, this isn't like 30 years ago where it's like, it's a college kid. He's on scholarship. Fine. That kid's probably got more zeros in his bank account than anybody up here on the screen right now. Like, the NIL program at Tennessee is one of the biggest in the country. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks. Nobody wants to miss. People are human. He's young. He seems like a decent kid. I don't know. I've never met him, but dude, you're getting paid for this. This is big boy stuff now. This is a job. Is anybody going to feel bad for me when I have a bad show? No. Why? Because I'm getting paid, and so is he.
I'll go back to you, Hammer. NBC pulled Kimmel live off the air after his comments about Charlie Kirk and the assassination. Was it the right call to protect their network? Oh, ABC, excuse me. Or an overreaction that sets a dangerous precedent for free speech on late-night TV? Hammer, go ahead.
This was the best thing that could have happened to ABC because it gave him an excuse to bounce Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, so Stephen Colbert was fired recently, right? His show was losing $10 million a year at least and had a staff of 100. And Colbert was beating Jimmy Kimmel in the ratings, and it wasn't close. Kimmel's looking up at Colbert. So how much money is Jimmy losing the network? This was the network's excuse to get this guy out of there so they can save some money. The local affiliate saying this guy is a turd was such a blessing to ABC that they didn't have to make this decision on their own.
Danny.
So I think two things are true here. I actually agree with everything Hammer said. I do think this was mostly a business decision. It was a perfect opportunity to get rid of Kimmel. Late night's dying anyway, and they're paying these guys way more money than they're worth. However, and look, some of the audience might not like this. I don't like the FCC chair going on saying, like, we're going to pull ABC's network license because we don't like Kimmel. That is where I do actually understand where the left is coming from a bit when they're talking about free speech, because everyone's like, this has nothing to do with the government and the ABC fired. I'm like, well, a little pressure from the SEC saying they're going to pull your license, like, that can affect someone, and that is the government stepping in. I don't want the government to be, look, man, we're all on the same page, right? Small government. I don't want the government involved in that. I don't need the FCC chair running around saying he's going to pull licenses if they don't fire Jimmy Kimmel. That's the part of this story I really didn't like.
What is the obligation of Kimmel? It's been reported that his executives, his bosses, wanted him to apologize. He got pissed, was going to double down, wrote a monologue to that effect. Danny Z, to your point, what is the obligation of the FCC if somebody comes on? You know, Dan Batard said this isn't in the top 100 things that Jimmy Kimmel have said. Well, I mean, if you're going to continually lie, taking Batard at his word, if he's lied 100 other times, at what point does somebody have to step in, whether it's executives or the FCC?
I mean, look, man, people lie. People lie all the time. Go turn the news on. I mean, if we're going to talk about... Yeah. Are you kidding me? Dan, do you watch the news?
About other people?
Do you watch CNN? Do you watch MSNBC?
Yes. But what I'm saying is, at what point should people step in? Just say, okay, it's okay to lie. Maybe this is a watershed moment where CNN or Fox.
They're not saying it's okay. Look, we have rules in here. Lying is not against the Constitution. It's actually protected by free speech in most cases. I mean, you have defamation and you have libel. But then again, like, what's the kid going to sue Jimmy Kimmel for saying that he's MAGA? And also, you got to look. The FCC chair was citing this very specific thing about significant public harm as being... I don't know that Jimmy Kimmel's causing... First of all, you have to have an audience to cause significant public harm. And last I checked, Jimmy Kimmel doesn't have much of an audience, so I'm not even sure if it's possible for him to cause significant public harm. Also, saying the shooter was MAGA, like, yes, I think he lied about that. I think he knew it wasn't true. I think he said it anyway. I think the network should apologize, but I don't think they should be required to. I know it's gonna ruffle some feathers, but I don't think the FCC really should be pulling licenses unless, you know, Kimmel was out there literally advocating for violence or really, I just don't think the standard was met here for significant public harm.
Hammer, to your point about they were looking for a reason, you look for a reason for one of 3 or 4 reasons. One, you're losing money. That's probably the one. 2, you don't have an audience, which is attached to losing money. Or 3, the guy is one sentence, and you know this, away from embarrassing you again. I don't think it's unreasonable to suggest that this was the last straw in many straws, Hammer. You?
Right. That's what I said. It was the perfect storm for ABC. This was the best thing that could have happened to them, because they were probably going to have to make the decision to pull the plug on the show anyway if it's losing that much money. But I want to go back to something Danny Z said about the libel lawsuit and everything. The kid is not going to sue Jimmy Kimmel, obviously, but I think the Trump administration might. If you're going to say this guy was radicalized by us and he's part of the Make America Great Again movement, I can totally see the Trump administration filing a big lawsuit. And lately, Trump's been winning those. And this goes back a number of years. Go back to the kid from Covington, Kentucky, Nicholas Sandmann. They bashed that dude on every cable network. Kimmel made fun of him, and he sued everybody and won pretty much every lawsuit. Maybe not all of them, but he won most of them. So the fear of the lawsuits, the PETA factor. Is this guy so much of a pain in the ass that he's worth the money? Kimmel wasn't. If Kimmel was pulling the gut-filled ratings or the gut-filled revenue, ABC would probably be pounding the sand right now. This is about free speech. This is about the Constitution. But they're not doing that. This was the best thing that happened to them.
You know, one of the things that I always think is there's a backstory, you know, and I learned this from articles on me or Coach Knight or whatever. There always seems to be a backstory. So let me move it back to you, Danny. Who replaces Kimmel? You know, in coaching, it's like, I'm mad he got fired. I'm glad he got fired. You debate it, and about 10 minutes later, you're like, okay, who's the next coach? Same thing here. Okay, who's the next host?
I know the answer, right? Everybody knows the answer.
Stephen A. Smith, right?
His name is Stephen A. Smith. I don't know where else you're going to go with this. Like, the answer is Stephen A. Smith. He's been auditioning for this by starting to have some conservative guests. I mean, what's the biggest complaint in late night? Outkick's reported on this several times. 97% of the guests they've had in 2025, which at this point, pretty large sample size, have been left leaning. And I think the other 3% were moderate, right? Like, no conservatives. Stephen A. shown a willingness to at least engage with conservatives. I think he's been doing that strategically for a reason, to show that, hey, you're going to replace this guy with somebody, replace him with somebody who can talk to the entire country. I think the answer is Stephen A. Smith.
What do you think, Hammer?
I'm not sure they go back to the late night model. Like, late night talk shows may be dead. You could fill that time slot with another hour of their ABC News, prime time talk show, some opinionated show where you know what it is. It's not masquerading as comedy. It's their news crew talking about stuff.
That's why I think Stephen A. Smith, like, he's not it's always a comedian. Like, he's not a comedian. Like, I think they're going to go a different, like, I think he takes the time slot, but I think it'll be a different show. And I think that's what's appealing to the network, is that Stephen A. Smith's show wouldn't be anything like these other late night shows. I don't think. At least that would be my strategy, because I'm with you. I think late night in the format that it is pretty much dead. I mean, Gutfeld kind of broke it, right? With having the panel and the discussions, as opposed to, host sits at a desk, makes jokes, monologue, guest. Like, the format was pretty dry. Part of the reason, I mean, obviously the biggest reason Gutfeld's successful is because the majority of the country agrees with him. But I think that format was better suited for that time. And I think ABC has an opportunity here to do something different. And by using Stephen A. Smith, who has the sports background, a little bit of politics background, seems to unite the country a little bit, at least better than a lot of other people. He's not dead set left or dead set right. I think it makes the most sense.
I was trying to look this up because Ted Koppel, remember when, well, you guys are younger, but when we had that problem with Iran, and every night ABC put on Ted Koppel, and then it became a really long-running late night. He was doing updates basically as a show at 10:30. I was living in Chicago, so it's Central Time, 11:30 Eastern, and then they just went with that. And you know what? Nightline, I think it was called, or whatever. And it became a very popular show with a completely different format. To your point, Danny Z, it wasn't about funny. It wasn't about celebrity guests. It was basically recapping the news of the day, and it became a very popular show. I think that might be in play as well here.
And if they can do that live, even better. Because most of the programs you see on cable news that are airing at 11 o'clock at night, pre-recorded, not live. I think there's something about live TV people get into, like a live news coverage. Even if there's not some major breaking news story, you can hype it up enough to where if there's nothing else on TV, I might as well see what they're talking about on this ABC news show. The biggest story of the day, maybe they've got a panel, something of that, like that. I think that's better than bringing in Jon Stewart or some, retread to do a late night traditional talk show.
And back to Stephen A. I mean, you're looking for a guy to do live TV. Stephen A. does nothing but live TV, and he's basically on live TV all freaking day. Live radio. Dude does a live radio show. Dude does a live TV show. He does everything Stephen A. Smith does is live. Look, I'm not the biggest Stephen A. Smith fan. I do appreciate his willingness to engage with, people on the left, people on the right. I think his shtick is a little bit tired, and having met the man, I think it's funny because he's definitely a different person on TV than he is. Because sometimes, a lot of these guys, when people would ask me, like, you worked at ESPN, like, how are these guys? For the majority of them are exactly who you see on TV and who you see, like Scott Van Pelt's a great example. Great story one time. I was walking in to use the urinal. There's only one urinal in the ESPN bathroom in the radio hallway. I saw Van Pelt coming in. He was in the middle of his show. So I kind of did the right thing and moved to the stall so he could have the urinal because I knew he needed to be quick. And then he made a comment. I had never met the man, never spoke to him before in my life. And he's like, having trouble deciding what you need to do here. And I was like, that's really funny. You don't know me. It was a good joke. Affable guy, good guy. Stephen A. is the one guy that off the air, super reserved, pretty quiet. Then all of a sudden that red light goes on and a switch flips and he becomes a different person. I don't know where I was going with that. I just want to tell that Scott Van Pelt story because I love it.
You know, I love the fact that his producer ran a porn company. I love that. Anyway, appreciate you. She did. She told me all about it one night. The whole staff got snowed in at the DoubleTree, and we were just sitting there having drinks. I remember
that snowstorm.
That was pretty funny. All right, thanks, guys. Have a great week. 8, Hammer, Colts win, right? 3-0. Greatest team in NFL
Colts
football.
win, but, man, I don't know if they cover. Divisional road games, man. Divisional road games are tough. Getting anything over a field goal for the Colts, I don't know. I think the Colts win it, but I don't like that hook at all. I
hate the hook. You got a degenerate, either one of you. You got a degenerate bet for us? Anything we could be looking at?
Louisiana Tech over Southern Miss. Lay the 3 at home. Louisiana Tech played LSU pretty decently in week number 2, I think it was. They only lost like 23-7, 24-7. If everybody thinks LSU is so great, La Tech at home, 2-1. Southern Miss on the road. I'll lay the 3. Give me the home team.
Done right now. I just did it. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Football's finally back. So's the hard-hitting gridiron action on Prize Picks. Download Prize Picks and use code OUTKICK and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
LeBron James has written an op-ed in a Chinese publication basically selling the Chinese people on the game of basketball and forming sort of a bridge between U.S. basketball fans and Chinese basketball fans. I have a hard time in knowing how to respond to things like this when we talk about individuals aligning with China versus corporations, because we all know there are plenty of American corporations, Starbucks, Tesla, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Walmart, that are making money in China, selling to the Chinese people and have no problem profiting off a country that has a ton of human rights violations happening within their country. But now when it's an individual, right, profiting, selling money with themselves, what's your response when you see this from LeBron James versus plenty of other American corporations doing the exact same?
Well, it's a sellout. I stopped caring about the NBA long before the venture with China became a reality. But that only further enhanced my feelings about not caring about, nor watching, or never ever broadcasting ever again an NBA game. I want no part of it. And I've said that many times over. People, especially some of my broadcast friends and peers, don't like me saying it. But listen, they've got a job. If my life depended, if my income depended on calling NBA games, I guess I would have to have a different view, but it doesn't. Therefore, I can say what I feel. And the NBA has long since been gone in my mind in large measure because of the hypocrisy over the relationship with China. And LeBron James has only further enhanced, in my mind, the sellout factor that he has within. And by the way, the league began losing its credibility when it yielded power to the likes of LeBron.
All right, it's On the Hot Seat. It's a Friday special with me, Daniel J. Dakich, and my buddy, Davey Hudson. Someone's under fire for an absolutely terrible decision, and we ain't messing around. Play the stinger. We got a stinger. Oh, boy. That looks like Yoda or Buddha or something. I don't know. You guys, what are we doing here? All right, Davey, well, who's first?
That's good. Dan, first and foremost, it's the guy everybody's been talking about, but it's Jimmy Kimmel. And the reason we're bringing this up is because He technically has not been fired yet. I know you and Danny Z and Jason Hammer just had the conversation. Is there any way he can be back on air?
Yeah, I think one of the things you have to do is acquiesce to your bosses. You know, when your bosses tell you to apologize, and frankly, this isn't like some moral high ground that Jimmy Kimmel is on. It's simply about lying or at the least not having the right information. So sure, I mean, you go in there, you go hat in hand, you understand that, hey, I was wrong, not only wrong about what he said about who the killer was, but I was wrong to disobey the order. Now, a lot of guys can't do that, and my assumption, Davey, is that Jimmy Kimmel has more money than he'll ever spend. I don't know whether that's true or not. I mean, between the taxes of L.A. and how a guy lives, that can really cut into a big salary. But sure, if I were an executive, though, I wouldn't be so fast even if he came hat in hand, because I gave you the opportunity. And as Hammer said, there's got to be a little bit there that is relieved that he's no longer going to be on the air and that they stood up to him. And I would also say this, Dan Le Batard made the point for us. When early in the show, we played Le Batard's comments, Davey, and those comments were, well, this isn't one of the top 100 things that Kimmel has said that's been, I don't know the word he used, let's just say egregious. Well, you got to look at it from both sides. If I am an executive, hey, man, this ain't one of the top 100 things you said, but this is the last one, Davey. So, sure, I think he can. Yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm with you, though, Dan, on the he is the type of person that's not going to admit anything wrong, to where it's like if he had to come out and apologize, he's not going to do it. And the other thing for him, too, is like I don't think it would serve him to actually even try to come back on ABC, because right now, at least on the side of the left, you can be a martyr for free speech. That's how this is going to be spun.
Oh, yeah.
And so if I'm him, I'm not even attempting to try to do it. I'm going to let my lawyers handle everything right now, but eventually, you're on to the next chapter, but you're not coming back.
Yep. All right, who's next?
Next, Dan, we've got your boy, Mike McDaniel, Nerd Boy. The Dolphins, they fall to 0-3 last night. The Bills, they at least had some life. I wasn't anticipating that to begin with, but, it just continues. The wheels are falling off the bus. It does not seem like that train's getting back on the tracks. Is Mike McDaniel able to salvage his job?
All right, so I looked this up when I saw this. All right, a lot of it goes to schedule. And to your point, yes, they looked much better. They looked like they had life. I mean, a 10-point loss in Buffalo is like a good thing now for Mike McDaniel. That shows you how far down the Dolphins have gone. But let's look at the next 4 games, all right? Jets at home. It's good that you should be able to beat them. It's bad if you don't. That's the game that could get him fired. Then they go to the Panthers. Now, you're talking about 2 bad teams. You're talking about 2 teams that can turn the season around. Chargers come in, and let me tell you the timing of that. You win 2 games in a row, including one on the road, you're going to be all jazzed up, and you're probably going to play your best football game against the Chargers. And then you go to the Browns. So you got the Jets. You got in the next 4 games, you got the Jets at home, Panthers at home, Chargers at home, and the Browns on the road. That's pretty good opportunity to at least get this on the right footing. Chargers, look, if you win all 4 of those, and I don't know the odds, they'll probably be at home 7.5 to 10-point underdog. But I would think in the other ones, they would at least be, with under 3 points, either favored or a dog. I think the jury's still out, Davey, because of the schedule. Yeah. I do.
No, it's a good point. I'm glad you brought up those 4 games, Dan, because the Jets right now, Justin Fields in concussion protocol. It wasn't like he looked good before they got hurt. And then you're talking about the Panthers. That's a team that's, been a bottom 5 team for the last 5 years in the NFL. The Chargers being in Miami, so that is, I just checked, that's a 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff. So that's essentially a 10 o'clock Pacific time. And whenever you look at the West Coast teams traveling to the East Coast, especially in that early window, it generally doesn't bode well for them. So that's a really good spot for Miami to actually take advantage. And then, with the Browns, I mean, that's another team. Offense really struggling. So I'm with you. And then Stephen Ross kind of made some comments, the owner of the Dolphins, yesterday, where it's like, we're going to be patient. I know a lot of people often get the vote of confidence that's dreaded to get. But Ross has been a guy that's been very hesitant to make any in-season moves whenever it comes to the head coach.
Yeah, and, the vote of confidence, fine, but I think this is what Stephen Ross has done. I think Stephen Ross and, management is looking at the next 4 games. Now, having said that, if they lose their next 2 games, I could see them making a change. I can. If you're not going to beat the Jets at home, as you mentioned, banged up Justin Fields in concussion protocol, or if you're not going to beat the lowly Carolina Panthers, who have gotten off to a Carolina Panther-type start, I might have to make a change. I don't know. We'll see. But these next 4 games maybe the next 2 are going to determine it. You're either going to right the ship or we got a problem. Go ahead.
Next up, Dan. So this has been a talking point for the last couple of years in college football, but they've tried to adopt the NFL model.
My daughter, and my beautiful wife, and we had a blast. Now, it's really different. It's really weird. I don't know that London – how do I put this? I think they've had enough football that the mystery is gone. So you're bringing over NFL teams. I think that's a big difference in bringing over some, frankly, nondescript college teams, although I understand Kansas is better, and I also understand Arizona State made the college football playoffs, but historically, not so much. I'm not the biggest fan of games overseas. I understand why the NFL wants to do it. They're trying to do what the NBA did, make it global, make it big, make more money over there. I get it. College, not so much. One of the great things about going to college is going to the football games, is going to the basketball games, is going to whatever big events are on campus. I don't love this for college, Davey. I really don't have the interest, and I don't think many people do, for these 2 teams. Now, you take Notre Dame and you have them go over to Ireland. Yeah, great, that fits, but I don't think so, Davey. I'm not digging this action. You?
No, I don't like it, and you mentioned college is like one of the big things is like, as a kid, you're going to these games, but the pageantry around college, it's one of those things to where I'm not even a big fan of these neutral site games you often see early in the season.
I'm not either.
Give me a home and home. I want to see the atmosphere. I want to see these teams that are very rarely facing off against each other play in that arena that you're not often going to. It makes it a much better experience for the fans that are there. And then I also think it's a better experience on TV when you can really know the crowd is having an impact on the opposing team. I don't and also with these international games in college, the only way they're able to swing it is we've got to make these week 0 for the most part. Now, granted, this one, September 19th, that's earlier in the year, or that's midway through the first month of the season. So that would be a really difficult opportunity for those teams to then go and then have to come back. But I would imagine they would have a bye right after.
Yeah, I would too. And, private jets make that easier, that kind of thing. They're going to say it's an educational experience. It's a recruiting opportunity. Back in the day, I remember we would tell kids, look, we're going to go on a European trip. You can only go once every 4 years. I get the entire thing, but I go back to this. When I went to that game in London, one of the fun things was the retro vintage jerseys. It was almost like the new crop of players' jerseys didn't make it to London. I saw an O.J. Simpson jersey. I saw all kind Chuck Foreman jerseys. I saw Walter Payton jerseys. And I'm not just talking about a jersey. I'm talking about Roman Gabriel jersey from way back, Johnny Unitas. And these weren't They were literally like, these are the jerseys that have caught up to people in England. College football, I don't know. And the other thing about football, and I've said this before, European people, at least the ones that I've talked to over the years, find it dull. Too many stoppages. Watch a soccer game. The clock runs. The ball stays in play. Somebody gets hurt. If they're down, they cart their ass off because we got 80,000 people in the arena. And in football, we wait for that fat ass with a sprained ankle. And people even at the game, Davey, asked me, like, they tapped me on the shoulder, why are we stopping? Get him off the field. I'm like, I know. Why are we waiting? Cart his big fat ass off. We got at the Colts game the other day, Davey. Oh, man, I forget who the guy was. He was literally, and I'm being literal here, a foot on the field. Like if he would have rolled over as little as you do in bed, he would have been off the field and we would have been able to continue. Instead, it was on his own sideline too. Instead, 80,000 people had to wait for this guy to get his ass off the field. Soccer's getting bored. The soccer crowd's getting bored with football, Indy, over there in London, and Arizona State and Kansas won't even register. That's my hot take on it, Davey. I'll give you another hot take that I want your opinion on. I am saying Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs do not make the playoffs. That's my point. I don't care. I understand we don't have this. Too many distractions, too much stupidity. The I'm wearing Rashee Rice shirts was idiotic, dumb, disrespectful. I'm saying they even lose this week. I'm taking the Giants, and, of course, I'm taking the points. That's my hot take. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Sunday Night Football, if the Giants are able to get that win against Kansas City, that is going to be like the panic button is fully being pressed for the Chiefs. I think if Kansas City can salvage the next couple of weeks until Rice gets back after week 6-game suspension, I think that offense is going to be fine. He's going to be a difference maker once he comes back. But yeah, I mean, right now the offensive weapons just aren't there. They don't have a run game. Travis Kelce's old. He's lost his step. And then you just look at the other receiver options. There's just not much there. And so if they get too far behind the 8-ball, Dan, in the division standings for the AFC West, they're not going to be able to catch the Chargers. Then they're not going to be able to catch the Broncos in my mind. So yeah, I could see it being it's like all hands on deck. I can easily see the Chiefs missing the playoffs if they cannot at least win 2 of their next 4.
I always tell people when we lose, others are winning. We'll be right back.
Are we live?
Joe Kinsey, Screencaps. You see him, you know him. Bad news. Danily DeAndre, our hot Florida cop, you say she's off of Instagram. We cannot have this, Joe. We want more, not less.
Dan, listen, if we're losing a guest, we can't be losing guests on this show. This is the best Friday show in America. 8 to 10 minutes, Dan. I said, I'm going to have the hot cop on. I went to see what she's up to. She disappeared on me, Dan. I'm very frustrated, flustered right now. That's the word I'm trying to come up with. I'm very flustered right now, Dan. So let me see what's going on.
Yeah, you can barely speak. I mean, come on. She was awesome on the show. All right, let's get to it, Joe. It's Silja. Huh?
Silja.
Is she Serbian? Is this a Serbian goddess right here?
Okay, Dan, I'm glad that the team picked out one of these photos because tomorrow is the start of Oktoberfest, Dan. It starts tomorrow. Boy. Heidi Klum, she tapped a big barrel of beer the other night. I think it was last night. And Silja here, she's pounding beers. Dan, I had the Bavarian beauties of Germany sucking down cold ones this week. It was a big post on Screencaps. So Silja, she's one of them, sucking down cold suds. I didn't realize it, Dan, but I guess all the hot women, they need a photo of them drinking from a giant glass of beer in their Instagram portfolio. I swear, like it's big in Europe to be sucking down a big old draft beer. I wish it would take hold here, Dan. I wish more American women would get in on it.
Well, St. Pauli girl was legendary back in the day, and I think she set the standard. And a lot of people tell me when you go to Oktoberfest, the first thing you notice is how much puke there is in the streets. True story. I've had more people tell me these high school kids, because the drinking age is different, they go there, they pound, zamette, zamtete, zamzak, zakzak, eins, zwei, drei, beige. And next thing you know, everybody's puking. That's what I heard. Miha Pierce, Joe. Miha. Oh, boy. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Blue's my favorite color, Dan. This one popped out to me. I don't even know who Miha Pierce is. You know what's going on is my algorithm is all of a sudden back. I got to tell you, Dan, my algorithm was so screwed up. I didn't have any hot women floating around in the algo. It was all like cars and food. I don't know how it got there. I'll have like construction projects. I need the models. I need the Instagram models. Dan, I have a job to do. So anyway, the one thing I noticed about this one besides the blue bikini is, Dan, that arm. We've talked about it. Ladies, you have to find something else to do with the arms. Dan, that is annoying, isn't it? Look at how long that arm is.
It is. I finally noticed it. Yes. The 90-degree arm after I finally got there certainly could do something else. Yeah.
Dan, we got to find something.
I got there, though, Joe.
Got to figure it out.
I got there. I did. I got there. I finally got to that arm. But you know what, Joe? I'm going to give her a pass. I think the blue bikini, the ribs, pretty good, Joe. Not bad on a Friday, in my opinion.
Yeah. Final Friday of
Claire in the house. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. All right, Claire, we're going to play a little tennis. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Claire.
Claire Hoggle, she is a golf influencer, and Dan.
Uh-oh.
Bait here?
What's that?
Is this golf balls or tennis balls? I've never seen a tennis ball dispenser.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good question. Those are golf balls, maybe, Joe. Oh, yellow? Yeah, you're probably right, Joe. That's at the Muni. Going to go hit a bucket, huh?
Yeah,
right.
I thought this was a good look, Dan. No white after Labor Day, but Claire Hoggle says the hell with those rules. I'm going white after Labor Day. The hell with it. That's some New York City rule, I guess, right?
Well, Joe, if you're in Florida, we're going to wear white after Labor Day. If you're in, I don't know. I don't know. Does that rule work? Is it only where it's going to start snowing, or we're going to be?
Yeah, that's
it. Yeah. Claire, you do you, baby, and you could play in Wimbledon with that white. If that was tennis, that would be allowed. Hannah Harvey, Joe. Yay, rah. Go fight, win, Hannah Harvey. What are we doing here? Cowboy Motel. All right.
Yeah, Hannah, she caught my attention. She does a lot of these Down for the Ride T-shirts, a lot of play on words with ride. I don't know what she's trying to get at, Dan. She's a cowgirl at heart, got the boots working, Dan. Cowboy Motel. This is probably Nashville. I got to say, Dan, I think are there any true cowboys in Nashville anymore? I feel like there's nothing left in Nashville but fake cowboys and fake cowgirls. I think Hannah's probably on the fake spectrum here, Dan. I don't believe that she's a cowgirl. I need her to prove it. Go out and ride a stallion. I don't know. Prove it, Hannah.
Right. Save a horse, ride a cowboy. Let's go. Just because you go to a bar and you got boots on and a hat, don't make you a cowgirl or cowboy.
Exactly.
Joe, I'll tell you this. I'll give you special dispensation if you walk around with assless chaps, though. I'll give you dispensation. I'll say you're gutsy. I think there's a lot on her that's not real, Joe. I'm just saying. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
She's down for the ride, Dan. That's all. That's the message.
Yeah. Is that her wear? That's her wear, right? That's her. Brand, Down for the Ride. Is that it?
Yeah, she wears a lot of the ride shirts. I guess that's her thing now on Instagram. Ride.
Right. Hey, Joe, Juliana Nicole. I ain't mad at Juliana Nicole. Never am. I think she's awesome. She's at the Mets game hanging out. Nothing wrong with this.
Okay, so the big thing here, Dan, was the hair. I got to tell you, you don't see a lot of the curly-haired girls anymore on Instagram. It's big. Juliana found a lane. She got in it, and she does the curly hair thing. You know, Dan, I was just getting what hair's left on my head cut the other day, and I asked the lady that cuts my hair, I said, is hairspray still in? Is Aquanet still sold? And she said, absolutely. And I said, you just don't see big hair anymore. And then I swear to God, Dan, Juliana popped up in my feed just after I asked that woman about the hairnet. I couldn't believe it. Aquanet, that's it.
You need to go to Bedford, Indiana, where we got the still big blonde hair, the bubble-headed bleach blonde, I mean, it's big. That shit's leaping in Bedford, Indiana.
They still do the big hair? Bailey. There's still big hair there?
Joe, it'll never go out of style. You could line up, like, you know, they used to have police lineups. You could line up 5 girls, and I could pick the Bedford, Indiana girl out every single time.
Oh, my God.
I don't care. You would think it's 1983 and Whitesnake was on your VH1 or on your MTV or whatever the hell it is, Joe. What's going on here, Joe? Interesting personalized CD Lamb jersey. What's going on?
Oh, yeah. This one was sent in to us. Yeah, we actually okay, so take out the fact that it's a personalized jersey with CD's nuts. Look at where the Chinese put the number on that jersey, that fake jersey. Look at the mess that they created here with this jersey. It's such a disaster. And I don't know what the guy paid for it, but he got ripped off. I mean, the numbers aren't even centered, Dan. Who the hell even put those numbers on the back? Somebody had to be blind to make that jersey.
When I worked at a sporting goods store, we had to put numbers on shirts and stuff. And man, hey, Joe, in Maryville, Indiana, people would be sending that shit back. And my boss, Mr. Schmidt, rest in peace, would have been like, do better, Dakich. Those numbers had to be perfect, Joe.
Look at that, man. Oh, that's Chinese making these jerseys are out of their minds.
They're crazy, Joe. I don't know. I mean, if you're going to send it over, send us over something right.
Exactly.
But it is pretty funny.
Great jersey.
It is pretty funny, Joe. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. That's pretty good. What else you got, Joe? You got anything else?
Dan, next week I will be reporting live from the Ryder Cup. I will be at the Ryder Cup on Friday, so that is big on my agenda. Dan, I've been to a lot of sporting events. I've never participated in anything like you, but I will get to experience the Ryder Cup. It's a very big one on my agenda. I didn't realize how big it was until everybody told me how big it is, Dan. But they're all jealous, so I'm going to go there and do for Outkick what I'm got a report for Outkick, Dan.
Can you come on the show?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do it.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I cannot wait. I think you, Beth Page Black, Long Island, you're going to run into a lot of lids, as my wife would call one of her players, a Long Island douchebag. You'll see some of them. Watch out. Keep your head on a swivel for lids, please. Travel safe, my friend.
Can't wait. See you, Dan.
All right. Last thing is going to be replaced right now by the betting thing. Ladies and gentlemen, are on fire. And frankly, I'm with Davey and others. I'm going to hammer the Colts. 4.5, I don't care. I'm going to hammer that number because the Colts had a squeaker. They got lucky, which means the coach, if he's worth his salt, can put together a ripping video of all the stupidity that not only the players did, but the Colts did. So do yourself a favor. Do yourself a big-time favor and take the Colts 4.5. And you know what? While you're at it, do yourself this favor. I may be crazy. I may be nuts, but I'm going to take the Packers because I like 8.5. I think no, I'm sorry. I'm taking the Browns at home against the Packers, 8.5. Why? Not sure. I don't think the Browns are terrible. I think the Packers are pretty good. 8.5 is too damn many points in my world. I'll tell you the last one that I'm going to make, and ladies and gentlemen, this is a total homer pick. I'm going to take Indiana to beat Illinois. I think Indiana at home does one of the things that Indiana at home has done over the last 11 games, and that's win the game. Average margin of victory, double digits. Indiana has never in its football history won 12 straight home games. Never. Kirk Cignetti has come into Indiana and has gone 11-0 in his first 11 home games, tying the all-time Indiana University record for consecutive home victories. Think about that for a second. Weird line. They're trying to sucker you. They're moving the money up. It's now the line up. It's now 6.5. I'm going to take it, and my toes are going to be tapping. The other bet that I'm going to make is I'm going to take Iowa on the road at Rutgers, and I'm going to give, I don't like this, a road favorite. I'm going 2.5. I'm taking Iowa. That's actually my money bet of the weekend. I don't know why I believe in the Hawkeyes. Nobody should believe in the Hawkeyes. The Hawkeyes are one of those programs that because their coach is well-spoken, he's been there a long time, they're just going along. Nothing special, nothing to see here. But I'm taking them over the Fighting Greg Schianos. I am. All right, everybody, we had a great week here on Outkick. We do. And I need you to continue to subscribe to our YouTube page. It's simple. YouTube.com/@ Don't at me with Dan Dakich. No other punctuation and all said and written together. YouTube.com/Don't at me. You see it right there with Dan Dakich. Guys, great job. People watching, thank you so much. Anything you want to say anywhere, please do. I'll respond most times to you. See you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.